Welcome to Spiritual ABC, a step-by-step instruction. Do you want to know what the premises are for spiritual understanding? Let me take you through the basic steps to spiritual insight. Follow this basic course in its 6 steps and learn what is involved in a real spiritual life, lived fully conscious and aware of your real and true authentic self. Number 1. Self-inquiry, who am I? 2. Meditation, tranquility and insight. 3. Satsanga, in the company of truth. 4. Service, selfless giving. 5. Submission, surrender of self. 6. Communion, together as one. One after another, get to know yourself in a progressively deeper and wider context. Start with self-inquiry, who are you? Fundamentally, before time and space. Then meditate upon it, let it absorb into bone and marrow. Then, share and reflect with others, contemplate and question. Selfless, you make yourself available, ready to help when needed. Finally, let go of yourself and join a greater context in oneness.
Who am I? When you look into yourself, what do you see? This timeless question has been for generations the essential method to realize the self. In India there's the saying of neti, neti, meaning, not this, not this. It is the process of elimination, to see what you are not. By contemplating and inquiring into the very essence of who you are, before time and space, before thought and feeling, you will eventually discard every notion of self, any idea and identity you may hold on to. You will be asked to give up any and all attachments you may cling to in order to be free. The question, who am I, will spontaneously reveal the underlying empty nature of your being. Use meditation to go deeper into yourself, stillness and silence to concentrate your mind, to penetrate the superficial layers of your own sense of being. Look within, fall back, and die to yourself. This is the method of reflective insight and self-discovery. Establish the will and intention to be free in this life.
Meditation is the practice of stilling the body and mind through mindfulness of breathing in and out. The focused attention on the breath, accompanied with stillness and silence, will create deep tranquility from where penetrating insight can fall. Sit still long enough and your system slows down, enabling your body to relax and your mind to go quiet. Clear intention and one-pointed effort will have its resultant change. The desire of your heart to come to a final answer regarding who you are, and the strength to follow it through to the end, is the motivation needed to stay on the path of spiritual liberation. This is following the way. Pay attention to your posture, sit up straight, be awake, alert and mindful. Don't slump nor tense up, find the right balance, finely tuned like an instrument's strings. Don't fidget, be absolutely still. Whatever arises, leave it be. Stay with the normal breath, sit through body aches and distracting thoughts, return to the stillness of your being.
Satsanga, or satsang as it's also known, means to keep the company of truth. Traditionally it meant to sit at the guru's feet and listen to his or her instructions. It was a question and answer format where you could ask anything related to spiritual liberation, a chance to ask the most important questions you had been harboring about yourself. It was, and is a forum for a directed dialogue that aims at dislodging misconceptions and erroneous views, and dispelling ignorance through a shared discourse. Spending time in the company of the wise has always been the most favorable context for spiritual evolution, allowing your interest to bloom and come to fruition. Sat, meaning truth, and Sangha meaning fellowship or assembly, points both to the precursor for spiritual enlightenment, and its resultant brother and sisterhood in realization. Community, then, is both the path and the goal of the spiritual endeavor. It is the fertile ground where you are allowed to grow into who you can become.
In service, give back what you can. The expression of selfless living is helpfulness, to attend to the need of others and share their burdens. When we realize we're no different from anyone else, we have no reason to hold anyone at an arm's length distance anymore. The unity and oneness discovered in spiritual revelation gives way to compassion and love, sympathy and empathy wherein all differences dissolve. Care and responsibility for the whole, for each living being and for the whole planet comes down to you. You alone have sole responsibility for the welfare and well-being of it all. This is not burdensome but a grace bestowed on anyone willing to serve the greater cause. It's inherent in the enlightened perspective and part and parcel of being a true human being. It enables and empowers us, it is the purpose of mankind. It completes and finalizes the outward practical side to our inward spiritual awakening. Kindness of the heart becomes the standard to which we all will be held.
Surrender is a word men have difficulty with. To submit yourself becomes the ultimate sacrifice, and we will resist it as long as we possibly can. But in war, when faced with the overwhelming evidence to the fact of our own demise, we must succumb to the stronger party, I in this case being to the truth or to God himself. In the spiritual battle, it is always the ego, the separate notion of self, that must give in. In the end, there is no other way to progress but to wholeheartedly surrender your life. This will be the last thing you must part with to fully realize the enlightened perspective. It will feel like you are going to die, with no room to back out. If you are so fortunate, face it, accept it, and proceed. Say goodbye to your loved ones, to your country, and to your past. You can take nothing with you, but you must trust that all will come good. After all, this is the reason you first entered the path, so give your life away willingly and freely. Don't be afraid. God is love.
Communion, together as one. The ultimate expression of enlightened understanding is when 2, 3 or more people come together and share a unified field of experience. No longer separate and isolated, our normally divided parameters fade away and a radical oneness appear from where we communicate in a free-flowing way without any differentiation. The separate ego is gone and a new unitary being emerges with its own intelligence, where we as individuals are supported and fulfilled. The true essence of who we are is no longer impeded by separate egos and their fear-ridden anxiety. Courage and joy, excitement and fullness becomes our meeting ground, our living platform where communication fuels the investigation into the real, into the presence of the divine. This is the meaning of Jesus' proclamation of when 2 or 3 meet in my name, there I am amongst you. It is the fulfillment of the spiritual life, when you are able to share it with others. There is no greater satisfaction.
Worship and devotion, thanksgiving and celebration, is the natural expression of the surrendered soul. Although Advaita, the non-dual teachings of the Hindu Vedanta tradition regards the absolute experience the highest realization, its expression is one of lasting devotion in gratitude and reverence. The human response to divine intercession becomes a profound relationship between the Creator and the created, between father and son, mother and daughter. The inner and the outer see no separation but have a holy bond that enables communion, that makes it possible for us to be in a constant dual divine union, and where the saying, "Not my will, but yours," come true. Bhakti, the Hindu word for devotion, is the ever-present experience in India, through its daily rituals and numerous festivals and religious ceremonies. Love and gratitude does not only extend to the divine presence within, but equally to all of life, to all mankind and to nature itself. Earth becomes our sacred, blessed home.
You recognize someone and you think you know this person. Perhaps from an earlier encounter. Perhaps from another lifetime. You can't put your finger on it, but there's something so familiar you can't but draw conclusions from it. I had a vision of myself in other people, perhaps they were my past incarnations. But really there was no information about time nor place, so I couldn't say whether or not they were me in past lives. I just saw they were me, period. That made me think, because the spiritual prerogative is to see things simply as they are, without adding your own conclusions and assumptions to it. So seeing each other as our own self, doesn't leave much to imagination. Just the bare facts, I am you, you are me. That's why there's a recognition. Because you see your own self in another, and they see their own self in you. This can happen when neither person are consciously or unconsciously holding up a filter to obstruct the reflection of the mirror image. One true self.